Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It has been a long off season, but we are here with the North American Challengers League. A lot of new changes coming up, but we're going to start off the day with some familiar faces. I'm Sierra Dawn, your host, and I am joined with none other than Desirex and Cubby. First off, Cubby, big move for you, the Caster House. I know it's LA. How's that been?
Oh, it's been great. We had a hell of an adventure yesterday, making sure that Josh had his stuff and was set up in the other room, but hopefully we don't hear them through the mic, and we're all excited to be covering NACL here in the same place.
Desirex, you're in the same place, same great background, but you recently got a puppy. I love that.
Oh, I wish I could bring it on camera. It's the same color as this, a little a French bulldog. She's absolutely adorable. Her name's Mia. Trust me, throughout the season, I will get her on camera, so don't you worry, Sierra.
What do we have to do, not for today's broadcast? I know she's a young puppy. What do we have to do in the future to get the puppy on broadcast?
Get her at a time where she's calm, because if I don't, then she's going to be all yapping up. She's going to want to stay here on me. She's licking my face and everything. If she's a little bit more calmed down, then yeah, we can get her on then.
That sounds like great content. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right? We could have League of Legends, or we could just see puppies all day. I mean,
she's pure chaotic energy, Sierra. Just saying.
Honestly, that kind of sounds like some of our broadcasts. So, I mean, it fits so perfectly. But off season, what have you two been up to? I mean, there's been the move and been a lot of exciting league news, Cubby. Like, what's been going on in your world?
I mean, the patch has been wild, and the new part of the season is always so fun because not a lot of leagues are playing right now. So everyone's really familiar with the same VODs from LCK and LPL. So curious to see how many of those strats make it here. I sure as hell am ready to talk about them too.
Desirex, anything, without giving away anything too much that we have going on, is there anything in particular that you're excited for heading back into this big grand world of League?
Okay, giving away too much. What I'm excited for, what I was covering, at least before we got into the season, was a lot of high school league and a lot of collegiate League of Legends and the development down there. Well, I got to cover Los Angeles Comic-Con, and a lot of the players that played in that event are going to be here in the league, so I'm happy to see their promotions. I'm happy to see their call-ups. It's NA development at its best.
And that's the greatest part about seeing all of this too, because we get to see so many players move on. We get to see the players at all the earliest stages, and you covering high school and collegiate already, just let us know, is there anyone in particular you got your eye on that you think we're going to see somewhere later on?
Ooh, I mean, I have eyes on quite a few players, but the thing is, they've already been brought up. One of them's just going to be Doxa. He's not getting covered today, so I can't say that name over on TSM, but plenty more to be excited for.
And Cubby, in your big world of League, looking ahead into the season, anything in particular you're excited for?
I mean, we have 6 new teams joining us. We have a new name. We may not call it by the meme name here. We are on the professional broadcast, so it's the North American Challenger League that we have in front of us. And I'm really excited to see what this new format is going to shape out to be, and how fun it's going to be just having 16 teams involved in this league instead of the 10.
Yeah, anyone who's just tuning in, we do have some changes. No longer LCS Academy, but being NACL now. There's some fantastic changes, including to our format, so check this out.
Welcome to the North American Challengers League. We've gone through quite a few renovations coming into 2023, but worry not, I'll be your guide. As we prepare for the next chapter of semi-pro play, why don't I give you a tour of some of the changes we have in store. The 2023 North American Challengers League will feature an expanded 16 teams that fall into one of 2 categories. The 10 franchise teams from last season will be known as fixed teams. Our 6 expansion teams will be known as provisional teams. These categories have implications on relegations, one of our big new changes. Only provisional teams can be relegated. We'll talk more about this in a moment. Moving on to the regular season, which consists of a single round robin where every team in the league will face off against each other in a best of 2. At the end of the regular season, all teams will be seeded into a double elimination playoffs bracket. After 3 weeks of play, we'll have a champion crowned on March 29th. This takes us to relegations. The 4 lowest placing provisional teams will compete against the top 4 from the 2 NACL qualifiers. This promotion tournament will take place on April 17th. The top 4 teams from this promotion tournament will qualify for promotion into the NACL summer. We'll have more updates on this as we get closer to the date. With more teams, games, and opportunities for promotion, I have no doubt in my mind we're in for the most exciting season of semi-pro play yet. Be sure to catch the North American Challengers League's first day on January 21st at 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll see you there.
Exciting changes to this pipeline of NA development, and I'd love to see it. A really great way to be pushing the players, because we don't want them to stay in this league. We want to be able to see players be advancing on forward. And there's going to be a couple of really big names, Cubby, that we're not going to see in NACL this season because they've moved on up.
I know. I'm excited for this group that we have heading up to the LCS stage. I truly think that we actually have 5 players that can be very strong LCS pros. And of course, we had to celebrate them moving up in style here with the NACL.
I mean, how incredible is it, right? I mean, Team Liquid winning back-to-back titles, 3 of their players getting promoted. Tenacity felt like it was long overdue for him after Academy Spring. Got his place. Busio, hand-selected by Double Lift. This is all incredible stuff to see.
I also love, kind of love-hate how Yon and they were next to each other, because, of course, them being split up, they've already been, joking on Twitter, oh, no, you found someone new, stuff like that. So, I feel like it's bittersweet seeing them together one more time, but we'll see how they fare going on their separate ways for LCS, which starts up this upcoming week.
We knew that they all were going to make it there to LCS. We had high hopes for all of these players.
Yeah.
All of them so skilled.
Yeah.
That's our summer split class of 2022. Can't wait to see them be going on forward. I feel like at every step of the road too, Deserex, every time we talk about any individual player, where it's always a matter of when they'd be hitting LCS, not if.
Yeah, that was the huge shock of one of the players I was just saying earlier, Tenacity, who performed out of his mind during Spring Split, and then what happens? Doesn't actually get the call-up, kind of had a chip on his shoulder throughout the rest of summer. Getting that promotion just feels oh so good, oh so meaningful, considering how much effort we've put into North American developmental and what it means for pretty much the rest of North America and its infrastructure.
Don't worry, we have a lot of talented players leaving us to go to LCS, but there's still so many talented players that we have still in NACL, as well, of course, people moving on up. That gives way for a whole new class of young new prospects to make their name and pave their way through NA.
Yeah, not just young prospects, too. We have some rather big names just in the ecosystem that are coming into NACL or returning to competitive play this year. The first of which, when we start rolling some of these clips, I'm so excited, actually. We're going to see him in the first game. You're going to see Arthur now going by Mir, actually his first name, a name change. One of the players I think is extraordinarily mechanically talented. This guy is a freak, one of the better Lee Sin players that I know of. Gonna have to look out for him when he pulls that out, Deserex, not to mention everything else that he has in his arsenal.
Yeah, I loved watching him during the LCO, the regular season. They had one of the most dominant splits that I've ever seen from a roster. But not just that, we got to go look at Zazel. He is back. Done doing the coaching. It is time to hit the Rift one more time, and I'm excited about it. How are you feeling, Cubby?
Zazel's always been someone when he's competed, even when he was playing for Team Redacted, which, unfortunate times back in early 21, but Zazel has always competed at a high level when he has been playing. Really excited to see him, but also in this clip, Unforgiven from the LEC was the LEC first team All-Pro AD in summer. He's on 100 Thieves Challenger now.
It's going to be huge to watch him. I'm sad we don't get to see him right away. Unfortunately, there are some issues with visa, so not going to be on the Rift from day one. But you know who will be? It's going to be Yukino. This is someone who's been very, very hyped up. Came from Evil Genius's Prodigies. Very young talent alongside General Sniper over there. I love seeing it. I love seeing just how much Hunter Thieves have been focusing on a lot of these young developing prospects.
And it's wild to think that with the promotions of both Tenacity and Busio, that 100 Thieves Challenger, in my opinion, has a very sound build, again, with Sniper, who might be the first generational prospect that we've had in NA, considering that his older brother is Viper. And a cool moment in the second series today, as they actually will be on the Rift at the same time. Viper playing marksman for this game, a role that he's always thought about role swapping to. They needed the sub. Viper was able to play, and that's going to be a really, really cool memory for the two of them. Something that Viper's always wanted to do in his career. We got more to talk about in the second series today about that, but definitely a really unique moment in the league.
It'll be really cool. I'm excited that is something that we do get to witness later on. But then just going over all of these players and stuff, these huge names that are coming in to now be playing in Challengers Deserex, what are you most looking forward to? I mean, names like Unforgiven, Hazel, you know?
Okay. For me personally, it's always about the developing prospects that I like watching the most because, I come from what we called amateur last year, and watching these names like General Sniper and Yukino develop across the split and now get the call up into semi-pro, it feels incredibly deserved and rewarding, and it's the next generation of talent, and they're swinging for the fences if you've ever watched any of the gameplay out of Sniper and Yukino.
I'm just trying to push you a little bit because I know that you're all about that semi-pro talent and watching all these players come up. I want to hear a little bit, but you know what? I get it. You've watched these players when they first are competing to now.
Stay true to them, Sierra.
Okay. I understand. But then another new thing now going into this year, we already talked about the fact that we're going to be having 16 teams instead of 10. We have our fixed, we have our provisional, and with quite a big few changes across these rosters and stuff too. Some of these teams that we've come to expect to be at the top, Cubby, this really could be physically different this time.
It's a rather competitive split of Challengers League. I think that with the 6 additions, I mean, these are teams that are going to be facing promotion relegations. So the bottom 4 teams after a playoff bracket will be sent to the promo relegation tournament after the conclusion of the spring Challengers League. But I also think that some of the teams that are, academy slots, now known as the Challengers slots, they took a lot of players that, took breaks from pro play. I feel like those teams actually took a little bit less risk than what a lot of teams were taking last split. Like from spring to summer of last year, we had 16 promotions from amateur to academy. This time around, it was actually less for those 10 fixed teams. I believe it was 8. Now, part of that's good, because a lot of the players that did play last year, we want to give them a second year, and some of them are very deserving, especially looking at that FlyQuest roster with Phillip, UG, and Spyrax all returning on the top side. Those are players you want to continue to invest in. But also, I feel like some teams didn't take enough risk and could have grabbed some other players that are just not in the league or ended up on Challengers rosters between our fixed teams. So definitely something to look out for, but that has led to a level of play where I truly believe that there are, I would say, 4 front runners and 6 teams that I think could win this league and no one would blink an eye given the rosters. So I'm expecting a very competitive split of play.
Hey, one thing that I think is really interesting too, just with how this league is built, the fact that there is something on the line for these provisional teams. There's relegation in the air. So before within LCS Academy, it was like, okay, this is a chance for players to just develop because there's no relegation, Of course, there'd be proving grounds, but that's all later. But I feel like a little bit of a different energy now, Deserex, because there is something on the line for a lot of these players now.
It feels like a combination of the best of both worlds because, back in the day in LCS, we had relegations for the LCS proper before we went into franchising. And franchising was to establish more of that stability. Well, the franchised orgs, now known as the fixed teams, they are still there, but provisional now getting to be a part of that. It puts a lot more pressure onto them to perform, but they still get that wealth of experience of playing at a semi-pro level with all these other franchised orgs alongside them.
It'll be really cool to see just all these teams being pushed in this way, Cubby. And you were saying that there was about 4 or 6 teams that could all be at the top and you wouldn't bat an eye. Can you give us a little spoilers on a couple of them that could be?
Ooh, well, we are going to see 2 of them early today in TL and 100 Thieves. I also find Dignitas to be very competitive, C9 to be competitive, EG and FlyQuest would be the full list. And yeah, I mean, promotion relegation being back for the provisional teams as well. NICL, a lot of great changes. We have expanded the league, brought promo relegation back, and we have a weekend time slot. One might say we got the LCS wish list here.
Hey, I'm here for it, all right? Just means we got some good League of Legends ahead of us, and it's time to start talking about the matches that we're going to be able to see today. One of these teams, he said, Cubby, one of the teams that you're looking out for and expecting a lot from, it is going to be Team Liquid Challengers going up against Azrex, one of your favorites, I believe, in Cincinnati Fear to start us off.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, more because we're seeing what this new Team Liquid roster is going to bring onto the season. You know, it's only Bradley returning now, 4 new prospects set up for that, but they're up against the squad of Fear, which, you know, for Fear, I know Fear has Shochi. Shochi comes from Taco Gaming, very, very used to upsetting a lot of rosters, did that with 100 Thieves next, so that's going to be a banger of a match.
Should be a lot of fun. After that, of course, it is 100 Thieves Challengers up against Golden Guardians Challengers, ending the day off with Immortals Progressive Challengers up against Wildcard Gaming, another one of our teams. So we'll get to see a little bit of everything today. And looking ahead at our first matchup here, Covey, the fact it is Team Liquid and Cincinnati Fear, one of the teams that is picked up to be the stronger rosters, going up against this provisional team that there is a lot of hype about. How are you feeling about this matchup?
So it's going to be really tough for the provisional teams to take down some of the fixed teams. And for me, especially with TL, this is a roster where I actually had a unique offseason in the sense that I was one of the coaches for the tryout for both TLC and TLF, which were public. So I got a pretty close look at a lot of the players that TL ended up going with. And I got to say, this is a roster that I'm really excited about. I think that Bradley and Mir on this top side might be the best top jungle duo that we have throughout the league, and I'm really excited to see what they can do.
I mean, the fact that we're getting that little bit of an inside look here, considering that you're part of the trials, instead of handing this back to Desiree, I actually just want to keep throwing this back to you in terms of decisions being made around this team and this roster. Because Bradley, of course, being the returning player, I mean, there's a lot of eyes on him. I know all of us are expecting great things, but talk to us about the rest of the roster and how it's specifically coming together for this.
So Mir was someone that, like, early on, I think that, you know, Spawn and TL really wanted to go with, and who can blame them? I mean, they were one game away from having an undefeated split in the LCO, and if you're like, oh, well, LCOs, you know, that's a weaker region. Mir did compete with Hanwha Life and Chovy the year prior, so he was moved to the Challengers roster, wasn't a part of that Worlds run, but this is still someone that has that incredible mechanical ceiling. And then someone, I'll toss to Desirux. We got APA coming up, man. APA is someone that you are so excited to see in this league, too.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see APA just because it's been a very, very long grind for him to get up to Academy, has spent so much time within the collegiate space, more particularly with Maryville and grinding up with them. He's been one of the more consistent performers, even when you look at not just the collegiate space, not just the amateur space, but Champions queue. We even saw him in the Worlds queue performing there. APA is one of those more refined players coming into the split.
APA is definitely going to be one of these newer players that we're really going to be having eyes on. But I think we have to be circling back around here to Bradley Cubby, especially being able to see this gameplay. This was at the old roster. A couple of these players have moved up, but Bradley definitely held his own here.
Bradley is the one returning playing member, don't want to discount Spawn, from the two-split victorious Team Liquid Academy. And Bradley, this year, he has the opportunity to be so great in the sense that, you know, Bradley is someone that, like when we look at the top laners who have been promoted to the LCS, Dokla dominated spring of last year. Tenacity dominated summer of last year. I really think that Bradley was a top 2 top laner by the end of last year and now has the opportunity to dominate his role again this year and really make a true statement that he deserves to be promoted up with his teammates. Obviously, we didn't expect that for him last year going into the role swap, just changing things up for him. But this year now in year 2, he was nothing but great towards the end of year 1. He has a great opportunity now to really put the pedal to the metal and make a case for himself.
It'll be exciting to see, that's for sure, especially with his debut going up against Cincinnati Fear. Desiree, I'll hand this one over to you. A lot of these names have definitely been paving their way through this Pro League, and I'm excited to see them here in Challengers.
Yeah, this is org that is taking this spot very, very seriously. They bursted onto the scene in summer, trying to aggressively pick up the best roster they can, and now relocating their players that they have picked up for this spring split, taking them to California. They're all in a gaming house, and a lot of them quite experienced to some end. You know, Perry does have some stage experience. For the others, a lot of grinding coming through the amateur space. Shochi is a big one coming out from Taco Gaming, who had great performances last summer against 100 Thieves Next. against that big roster that we were talking about from Amateur. I mean, there are plenty of things to be excited about for this team, and it's definitely going to be a rough road considering that they are going against such high level of competition.
Pushing them, I feel like that's also the best way to try and get the improvement out and try and a little bit test these players. But then with how well these semi-pro players can compete, I mean, how much of this is biased from Deserex? Because I know that he is a huge fan of Cincinnati Fear. Or how skilled are these players and how do you think they're going to fare here?
Honestly, someone that I was actually really impressed by last year was Faisal. I think that Faisal was really underrated from the top lane with his play in Amateur, and I'm really glad that he's a part of the semi-pro ecosystem this time around. Going up against Bradley is a really tough task, but Faisal is someone that I think consistently can play out his wave states, whether he's weak side or strong side, and I think that he has the potential to make a big splash this year. Not to mention Perry, who did sub in for Dignitas for PG in summer as they took second place through the upper bracket, which was a huge surprise in the tournament. So Perry not landing a challenger spot, he still is in the semi-pro league, and who knows, maybe he's gunning for some of the teams that passed over him in this offseason.
I mean, spring, definitely a time for these players to start proving themselves, and hopefully we get to see that right out of the gate in this first game. I'm going to leave you to do it. Have fun.
All right, thank you, Sierra. Cubby, it's about to be our first game of the split, brother. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to head into the Champion Select? Are you ready to start the season, a new chapter in NACL?
You'd think staring down a full season of League of Legends that, like, you'd have, like, some pent-up tension. For me, it's just, like, deep breaths of relief, man. We're back. We're back in the comfort zone. We got some games to talk about. I have a pick man in front of me. Back to what's important in life. That's some League of Legends.
All right, so what are we expecting to see in this draft coming in, Cubby? We already got some bans coming in, Wukong, Lucian taken away. I'm hoping to see at least nothing too safe to start off. I would like to see, I say not too safe to start off, not too safe towards the meta. I want to see the more spicy pocket picks to start off. I know APA is big on that Aurelion Soul. You're big on Mir's Lee Sin on top of that?
Yeah, Mir's Lee Sin is insane. It's going to be a treat for everyone when we see it. But the meta right now, it's really curious because early season, 13-1 was such a big patch with so many changes, and we don't have a ton of regions competing at the moment. So that means that the teams that are competing, everyone's kind of seen the same VODs and material, which I think makes early season very interesting. And what we've been seeing for the majority of the time, it has been very heavy priority on bot lane, in draft first rotation, but also the focus of the junglers as well. So champions like Malachi Vi with the point-and-click hard CC, and then bot laners that can do all the damage for your team if they get ahead and if necessary. That's really been what has been dominating this early season.
And as the first wave of bans do come out from Team Liquid, they are going to start to focus onto that jungle pool of Perry. Again, I mean, Perry did have that substitution in where he kind of basically opened up with Volibear before expanding more into something like Wukong and Xin Zhao. But the big thing about him was just how well he slotted into Dignitas and just looked tremendous with that squad. But, first pick coming in, Maokai.
All right, well, the Yuumi ban, I do respect, but Malachi got through. I think that Malachi is a champion that I would not let through in this meta. He is so oppressive. When he gets ahead, it's so difficult to take space on the map back from him, given the saplings. And he really brings a lot of magic damage, like all the magic damage that you need from the jungle role, which is crazy to think given how tanky he is. But the Demonic Embrace Rush build has really gotten popular on him. It makes him very strong. With that said, Varus was given up over to the side of Fear, and with Ryze, these are two power picks that Fear will be happy with in this first rotation.
Yeah, I want to see this Ryze locked in first before I say a little bit too much, because, well, let's throw out that fact anyway. Shochi, this is something where Shochi, at the beginning of Proving Grounds last year, back in spring, Shochi did play a lot into this Ryze back in Immortals AoE. So that getting locked in alongside with this Varus for Cincinnati Fear.
Well, I gotta say, I'm happy we don't have jungle plus bot lane rotation in the first rotate. That's different. But with that said, we do have a Jhin and then a Cassiopeia. So this is actually funny. The Cassiopeia, this was Harry's counter pick into Ryze. So now APA has it out to take up against Sochi. And that Jhin, something that Arrow, all the way back from the days of KT Arrow, he's made a name for himself on these skill shot champions. So some comfort here for Arrow in the bot lane.
And more magic damage coming out for Cincinnati Fear as they're going to lock in the Karma to try and get that heavy push going. Well, if you go for the bot lane right there, it is a flex pick with this Karma. You can put it into multiple lanes. Be curious to see if Cincinnati Fear go for that, but phase 1 of the draft now done. How you feeling about it, Cubby?
In a meta where it's really all about bot lane, this Karma priority pick, it gives a lot of power to the Fear bot lane because Karma is so strong, especially versus Enchantresses in the first couple of waves. So Fear bot prio into a mid lane that can move. It looks like they're going to try and follow up bot. But no jungle was taken for Perry. Perry's always had this unique pool in the sense that he's really excelled on full clear and cerebral champions. I think Perry makes really good decisions when he decides to be aggressive. But he doesn't have a champ yet, so I like taking away the Vi. We'll see maybe if they even consider taking away the Volibear, champion that Perry really made a name for himself on in the last summer.
So next ban coming in, Cincinnati Fear, gonna target Arrow this time. Well, taking away the arrows as Ashe will not be on the Rift. 2 bans going over for Arrow, but Arrow historically has been at least leaning more into the aggressive pool. We've seen the Callista and more specifically the Draven a little bit way too much. With that being the case though, Arrow does have the Jhin locked in, so the Ashe more targeted for the support pool. Kind of missed that, Cubby. Put that on me.
Well, it is worth mentioning. I did say that it's likely going to be the Jhin for Arrow, and I still do expect that. However, we have been seeing some Jhin support. It's been mainly a solo queue pick, but it has been considered at the support role. So we'll see if TL decides to do anything funky here in the back half. But that is a Viego for Perry. It is a lot of aggression, but I'm really curious now to see how Faisal rounds things out from the top lane. And also, I doubt that Bradley's going to take the Maokai for himself, given it's the strongest jungle pick, but maybe Mira wants to lease in. I can dream, Deserex.
You can dream, and
I can dream. I can hope.
We'll see. I can hope for it too, because I've been very hyped up looking back on a lot of Mir's tape and seeing that lease in, but Nautilus getting locked in. I was getting a little bit more excited for the Bard pick because Kim Down has been historically the tank-centric player. Instead, just going to be Nautilus. But Bradley bringing out the Fiora. We do get something pretty nice up there in the top lane, Gubby.
Typical blind for him. We'll see what Faisal decides to play into it. As Fiora did see some changes on 13-1, but not enough to knock it out of the meta. Aatrox also saw some changes. That would be a decent option here, given that Maokai, Fiora have to dive in if Faisal is comfortable with that matchup, even if it's not the greatest. But instead, it is comfort for Faisal. That's going to be an Olaf for him. When Faisal was originally climbing, he was actually an Olaf player in the top lane back before he was reworked and also after. So Faisal with comfort pick, taking it up against Bradley, see if he's up to the task.
Yeah, during Faisal's run in Evil Genius's Prodigies, that was the most picked champion that Faisal was locking in, that Olaf. So having that over in the top side, now we have our champions all locked in on both sides. I mean, I do got to give an edge over to TL Challengers. Bradley looked phenomenal last split on the Fiora. Was quick to blind that at any given situation. APA, comfort on that Cassiopeia. Strong pick in the jungle with the Maokai. A lot of positive points for Team Liquid.
The Maokai for me is so strong. I can see some of the theory though with Fear. The Karma, you can kind of run past the saplings, then try and speed up Olaf and then Perry on this Viego enough to maybe get in the backline, do some damage. You have CC elsewhere, so we'll see if that can actually work out for Fear as Deserex. It's time, man.
We are in for the first match of the season. Team Liquid Challengers versus Cincinnati Fear.
New features.
Twitch chat voting for Cincinnati Fear overwhelmingly. What's going on here, Cubby?
We got new features from our production team. If you spam TLC or Fear in the chat, that does factor into these polls. And also, if you use that hashtag NACL on Twitter, who knows? Maybe your tweet will make it on the NACL broadcast.
Now, as we do start up, I do want to point out, like,
TLC's catching up.
They're catching up.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. That's expected. TLC, they are the stronger roster. They are the challengers team, and we do have high expectations for this team. I truly believe that Mir can be the best jungler in this league, given his experience in his past. And I want to see if he's up to the task, because him and Bradley has the potential to be so good on this roster, Deserex. And I'm curious to see what they look like in this early season.
As you had mentioned earlier, that nearly undefeated season, at least still went undefeated in the regular season of the LCO, was Mir. So great player alongside Bradley, who is a returning champion from Proving Grounds last year, both of the Proving Grounds. Gotta absolutely love that for Team Liquid. It does feel like we are staying true to the name that our producer has told us multiple times. It's Challengers League, and Fear are trying to challenge one of the champions in Team Liquid Challengers. And already Hook coming out and a little bit feisty in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so a couple interesting things happened. Level 1, first off, they did spot the scouting ward that TLC put on the red side of Cincinnati Fear. That experience was given over to Sochi, who will now hit level 2 on the first wave. Meanwhile, bot lane, if Kimdown is able to land some hooks, they have the opportunity to try to somewhat contest, but the Karma and the Varus should be able to push fully. I gotta say, I do think this bot lane for Fear, we talked about their top side. I think the bot lane is not as strong on this roster. And we'll see if Arrow and Kimdown can step up and punish this. Of course, Kimdown, one of the players with the least experience, not only on the TLC roster, but also in this game.
I want to ask you about that a little bit more in a second, but first, Mir is hovering down into this bottom lane. There is a ward right there, does get spotted out. Easy enough to sweep that away, but look at where Mir is headed now, going in for the invade onto Perry.
Perry did spot this, as now Mir's using the saplings to try and scout out. Perry has gotten around him.
Ooh, this might be the pincer looking to try and set up out of Cincinnati Fear. Trevor and Minui walking their way up. Deadly Flourish. Here we go. Ooh, the roots coming in, and we're about to have first blood. It is picked up by Mir, courtesy that last performance last year in the LCO. Now the fight's still going through. Kimdown will flash through the wall to get there to safety. Deadly Flourish will get the snare through. Now looking to take down Perry. Perry critically low. One more auto would seal the deal, and Arrow will get the kill. Shochi, however, running away from APA in the mid lane. Did burn that flash to survive, and it is wild. First 3 minutes in, we're all over the place, and Mir looking to show up. Hex Flash, there comes down the sapling, spotted out exactly where Shochi is. 4 kills in the first 3 minutes, Cubby. We're off to the races.
Oh, and Mir yoinked the kill too from APAs. He's not able to get involved, but Mir says, that's mine, man. I found him with the sapling off the base, and Mir off to a fast start. With those 3 kills, again, the early power of Maokai, your ability to get in the face of the enemy jungler and scout. Mir takes full advantage of it, and with that plus the Nautilus, I mean, that's just way too difficult for Fear, who want to poke, have a health bar advantage, to fight the all-in.
So many different places, Fear losing out there, now trying to establish themselves back onto this map, but Mir is on the opposite side right now, looking for the gank onto Shochi. Keep in mind, Shochi does not have flash.
Kimdown's here too.
Coming in, twisted, advanced, able to get the damage onto Shochi. A little bit of CC there. Kimdown not too far off, but Shochi gonna be okay this time, but a lot of pressure coming out early from Mir. This is quite the debut, Cubby.
And not only that, but look at how Mir is interacting with APA in the mid lane. APA pulled this wave to freeze it, and now by chunking out Sochi, they're just forcing him to base. He's missing so much golden experiences. Oh, we are going to get a replay. Big thing for me, look at how Mir just follows up on the Varus. Once that dredge line lands, he's able to find the flash, the twisted advance, and even connects with the Q on Perry to knock him back after the stun. Really solid Maokai mechanics. Even if Mir goes down, then the rest of this, we're going to avoid the dredge line here from Kimdown, as the generous hitbox hurting him there. But Arrow was able to hunt the rest down, and fast start here for TL Challengers.
Great early performance coming out from Mir. Absolutely love it. I mean, I know quite a bit about the LCO. I was able to watch some tape on Mir from there in his last year. But, Cubby, I want to ask you, you're a big fan of the LCK 2021 Hanwha Life Esports. How was Mir like over there?
Willer was better. That's kind of where Hanwha Live finished. But still, this very young, mechanically talented player. It was a big surprise, actually, coming from the Oceanic region, because he originally started off with Direwolves before that.
Right.
It was a pretty significant pickup. And whenever Mir has been an LCO, or that region, he dominated. Not as much, though, in that split for HOEs. Again, Willer really did prove himself as that younger jungler. So now another opportunity here for Mir to take the route that, a player like Ayla did, coming from the Oceanic region now to NA, did wonders for Ayla. Mir trying to do the same.
And so far, so good for Mir. Setup now on the reset coming out for both Mir and APA. Is going to be Mir, so possibly looking to utilize just how much crowd control you are going to have in this bottom lane. I mean, both a Maokai and a Nautilus, that is locked for days.
And for Fear, this game's already kind of gone south, not just because the Varus Karma aren't really able to push or pressure, but also look at that mid lane CS differential. Just from Mir and APA interacting with each other, and APA playing out this lane state phenomenally well is now Perry. He's got no flash, he's dead.
Oh, Perry. Wrong spot to be. APA and Mir are going to catch him out in the river. And just like that, Mir making another statement on this Rift in the first 6 minutes of the game.
And this is one of the difficulties now when you play against Malachi, is that once he takes up space on the map, his ability to snowball the game forward with the saplings, the pressure, the damage that they put down, but also the ultimate that Mir is about to get access to, it's just making the game so difficult for Fear. And what we set up to be early game priority, with the Rise, with the Varus Karma, all this has lost. And it's been in favor of TLC, who have just been the superior team, not only in mechanics, but also early game plans. And now Fear doesn't really have a leg to stand on.
They do not. Looking for any spot in the lane where they can focus on. I mean, coming into this match, it was quite expected for Team Liquid to be the bigger team coming into this. Better infrastructure, more established within the semi-pro scene, and picking up some of the best talent that you could possibly have there. And for Fear, you're just looking for the upset right now. You're looking to put everyone wrong. And a lot of these interviews that these Fear players have had, they say that they feel like everyone is underrating them while they have to show it. And this is the biggest challenge that they're going to have to throw it through.
Yeah, that's something, definitely something that Perry talked about when I talked with him before the game today. He was someone that got a taste of Academy and did very well in PG, taking second with Dignitas. I asked him, hey, did it hurt at all to not, have a team or be on a Challengers team for this upcoming season? And Perry's like, you know what? No, I'm still 18. I'm young enough to, be able to make mistakes or, grind things out. And I have a lot to prove this foot just like anyone else. So I know that's something that Perry definitely is aiming for, along with the rest of Fear. And just because they're a provisional team, you have the opportunity to play against these Challenger League teams on stage. That is always a huge advantage when you go into the promo relegation tournament, even if you are put there from, finishing in the lower fourth.
Yeah, a whole season of experience with all this level of play.
Oh, hold on.
Here, focus onto the top side. The ultimate Ragnarok's going to be popped away, but is it enough to save Faisal? 100 health remains, and Bradley wants to claim it, waiting to get close enough to dig that rapier in the back of the Viking, but Faisal's running too fast. Look at the mid lane, however, the poison popped on the floor. Shochi forced to burn flash away from the miasma.
Man, I think APA's been spamming some Harry VODs, the Cassio versus Rise matchup, man, because he's playing this damn well against Sochi. I mean, he did have a little bit of help to get the Rise to base in extra time, but the rest has been all APAs. He's going to get a free plate with Mir behind him now, as Perry is looking.
Oh, and Mir, I think at the last second he tried to cancel that recall, but it's going to be fine for APA. Perry coming in at the right angle, and APA, good start for him.
Oh, even canceling Perry's base there. And APA, again, this is someone that we feel like came to Academy a bit late.
Yes.
And one of the reasons for that is that the skill set that APA had, it wasn't what all Academy teams are looking for. A lot of our now Challenger teams, they want these really raw, high mechanical talents. APA's had some of the mechanics, but honestly, he had to work on his hands a bit. He was someone that was so smart about the game, how to play out his lanes and impact the map, but not as gifted mechanically. He doesn't play the melees, but it's great seeing APA in that first game demonstrate some of those abilities and demonstrate the hands as well on a Cassio that he has put in the time, put in the grind, and he's only improved.
Bottom lane, Perry starting to hover down here for Fear. A lot of exchanges going out, but Chain of Corruption was used in that last exchange for Minui, so not going to be the easiest to really lock down what's going on over here. However, in the top side, here we go again. Mir showing up in the top lane. Ragnarok going to be popped again, but Bradley will dodge away from the axe. Will not dodge away from the true damage of an angry Faisal. Faisal running it after Mir, and Shochi has arrived over on the top side. Used the Realm Warp to get there, trying to get close enough to root in and lock down Mir. Flash going to be burnt, but finally Fear able to bounce back on the top side.
All right, Faisal using that 5 pick to his advantage. We said he was an Olaf one trick originally on the ladder, and Faisal able to catch Bradley off guard there.
Caught him off guard, and really quite the display coming out. I mean, we talked about how much of a comfort pick this Olaf is, Got to appreciate that play up there. Got to appreciate the outplay, especially when Mir is playing towards that lane so much. That was the second gank in like about 2 minutes.
Faisal was able to eat that one himself. Maybe they were trying to make a play around the timer of that Ragnarok. Didn't realize that it was back up, as that ult did come up sooner than Fiora's ult. And that's what really enabled Faisal to take that 1v2 and win.
Now, as take a look at the map and what is being set up, I do see this tank duo roaming over into the river. So much crowd control in both the Nautilus and Maokai, and Sapling being placed, trying to get a little bit more control in this area as Dragon is spawning in the next 15 seconds.
Now, we do have a Rift Herald. So this is a nice drop from TL. Using that first Rift Herald not only to take some plates, put it on APA, but also dropping it at the same time as Dragon, just to guarantee mid-lane priority before. And again, this is one of the real pain points of playing against a Maokai, is that retaking that terrain once the team's able to get it. Look at the saplings now that Sochi and Fear would have to walk through. TL just trying to take some chip damage off of Fear, see if they think about contesting this drag, because at the moment it's all theirs, and now Mir will start it.
Faisal exchanging hands with Bradley on the top side while the Dragon gets started by Team Liquid. And Fear want nothing to do with this Dragon. They're not going to position over there. It looks like they're focusing over towards the top side a bit more. Harry potentially looking for the dive, but Arrow forced to flash away from Trevor's pressure in the bot lane. A little bit of relief here. 1400 health remains on the Dragon. Not too much of a worry for Team Liquid.
Nice play from Trevor, at least trading up in terms of flash values, so maybe that's something that Fear can use or capitalize on. Sochi, of course, does have that Realm Warp. APA has been doing a good job of keeping him under the turret, but Ryze can sack a lane or a wave to try and impact the side. Could be something that Fear honestly desperately needs as they continue to fall behind in this early game, down 2k gold and 2 dragons to TLC.
The only place that has worked well so far for Fear has been in that top side in Faisal. You're mentioning so much how underrated this player was, and it is showing. Has played the game for quite a long time. I was watching some of the little Fear videos that they put out there. Started playing this game in grade 6.
Ooh.
When did you start playing, Cubby?
Sophomore year of high school, which was season 2. Yeah, kind of I show my age there a little bit, but that's fine.
Mine is season 1, so I kind of went up to you on the age showing. A little bit. You know, you might be the boomer, but I'm coming out of the crypt, coming out of the tomb. I'm mummified.
Well, we'll see if TLC can put on some more entertainment here. As I guess with the name change now, that this isn't. They're now Tender Loving Care in a sense. I don't know if that's a brand also owned by Honda. You know, who knows? I don't know what the investment portfolio is here.
This feels like good versus evil, then. Tender Loving Care versus Fear. Oh, Faisal. Gotta fear this dive. Yeah. Here we go. Ultimate going to be used out of Mir. Kim down, showing up as well. Ragnarok going to be used, but there is the teleport. Shochi arrives. Out comes the petrifying gaze from APA. Rooted down is Shochi. Can't even get away with the Realm Warp. There is no get out of jail free card. Team Liquid dominate the top side.
The TP from Sochi is good if APA is not able to answer, but look at the full map rotation from TLC. APA is able to walk up because Arrow also walked mid. They do drop bot outer, but that's a huge win to take mid outer and top outer instead. Not to mention the kills on top is in this early season, man. Team Liquid Challengers off to a hot start this game.
Very much so. First 2 Drakes in their pocket. They got 2 turrets as well. Did get that first Rift Herald, now claiming the second one. Kind of a clinical display coming out from the squad on every single lane, on a macro movement as well. Gotta love it for Team Liquid.
And, I mean, at the moment, it is all TLC on the map as, you know, I guess one of the ways... Oh, we do have a replay coming in. Again, this dive... If APA is not able to rotate up, I don't think it's good, but APA actually dropped the mid-wave, which now Arrow is catching. You can see that in the minimap. That's what enables this play to be so favored for TL. That some really nice aggro turret juggling here from Mir. Really clean plays from TL as they continue to make sure that Fear isn't able to get out on the map, isn't able to put out any pressure Desterux. This has been a very one-sided game to kick off our season.
It's been a lot of fun to watch APA's first game in semi-pro. He was, I did shoot some questions his way as he was telling me that it has been
a lot that he's learned from Spawn, more on stuff that isn't really talked about too much in the collegiate space and the amateur space. And you're seeing that with the way he does move on the map. A rotation you were talking about, out-rotating Shochi's teleport. Great for APA. Had a fantastic end of the year in 2022 and off to a great start in 23. As setting up right now is going to be Team Liquid looking to try to catch out Trevor, just putting a sapling. Trevor realizes, yeah, this jungle no longer belongs to me. Perry might need to learn that lesson, though.
It's funny that you mentioned kind of like the knowledge gap, or like what you continue to learn. Like Spawn's been able to teach APA a lot. It's actually something that we've seen on the Rift before with a couple of our players. Arrow, back when he was on Wildcard, Manui was on the Wildcard developmental. And Arrow was actually a player coach at that point. So I know that from talking with Wildcard back at the time, Arrow was working with both teams. They did make a swap Wildcard developmental for Marksman halfway through the season, but kind of funny to see, Manui in his first game in this league playing against someone not only that has an LCK title, has an LCS MVP, but also was his coach at some point.
Gubby, who else was on that Wildcard roster while Arrow was a coach?
Bradley.
When he was in mid lane, yeah. The reunion. I just realized that right now. That's
really
a fun fact right there.
Oh man, I had this. It's like early season. I'm like, all right, like where are these players like coming from? Like all that. Gets to kind of catch up, like where everyone was at. Oh, I had the big circle there on Wildcard 21. That there's a lot of players in here from that roster. Winston's playing there today too, or Winnie, I should say now.
Now the setup coming out for Cincinnati Fear as they go over to the Drake. For Team Liquid, however, they are not concerned with that side of the map. They're just going to play straight for the mid lane. They've already taken the first turret. They're headed straight for the second now, Cubby.
And TL just wants the gold. They realize they can drop a dragon. They have full control. Maybe overextended on the top side, so not quite able to set up that third dragon, but still, with that second Rift Herald, they take a turret, get a nice chunk, and the inhibitor turret, and can continue to maintain control now over the Baron side of the map, as the next 90 seconds will be a bit of a lull. But Kim down coming in with the hook, buys enough time for the ultimate of Mir to land onto Perry. Perry going to use the ultimate to try and disengage, able to find that disengage. Chain of Corruption on the backside for Minui. Okay.
Does get Kim down pretty low. They're looking to chop down this tree, but Mir flashes out and will survive. So will Perry.
Cute stun there from Perry, running himself into the wall to actually kind of hide that one. Hit Mir. Nearly opened up a kill, so nice turnaround there from Manui. Perry, at least a decent attempt. Just not enough gas in the tank.
Faisal Bradley. This is something I want to get very, very comfortable with soon. Faisal just going straight for it. Doesn't care about the parry. Doesn't care about Bradley. Will outright 1v1 one of the top prospects in semi-pro.
I mean, we were setting up this match as like, hey, Bradley's the only returning champion in the league, and this has been all TLC, but hey, to see Faisal on his former one trick and still a champion that obviously he's able to pull out, do very well against Bradley. Again, that's a good sign for Faisal, someone that I felt like was going to be competing for NACL slots. Really glad to see him in the league on a team. Definitely a player to look out for on the Sphere roster this year.
Smart, consistent player. He's done a lot of work, and that work paying off in that 1v1. That is how you make a statement for yourself, even when you're behind 5K as an entire team. Let's take another look at that, Cubby.
So I'm curious, Bradley was only able to get... actually, he wasn't able to get the first auto down. I thought he would have maybe been able to get all 4 marks faster, but there is a bit of a cast time, a prep time. I'm going to knock those vitals when you ultimate, so it looks like Bradley just wasn't able to get the first one on that auto attack. Therefore, was late to get the healing, and Faisal cut him down.
You can see right there, APA, that miasma. It makes you feel so bad when you're trying to defend these turrets. You scoot up a little bit too much, and now you can't flash. Now you can't use a lot of those big mobility abilities as Mir setting up in the mid lane. Kim down, beautiful hook to land right on the money of Minui. Problem is, Fear brought more to the fight, and we'll look right on back to Mir. 2 killed in the blink of an eye by Fear. They're looking for APA, but APA's got some damage to bring back. Going after Shochi, flash over the wall. APA will stay safe, but Fear, they're not down yet, Cubby. They're bringing the fight to last year's champs.
It was a decent idea with the flank, but APA, he's all the damage, and he was nowhere to be seen, as now Arrow gets Gale Force away. Nice, dodges out on the empowered Q from Karma. But APA is a lot of the damage, all the follow-ups. When not Maokai go in, you just throw down the miasma. That's the plan for TLC. with APA, he was trying to wrap around above them. He wasn't in the mid lane when that fight started. So while it was a decent target from Kim Down, not the right time to take that fight. Didn't have all of his teammates with him.
Yeah, the selection there, able to grab Minui, great, as you had mentioned, but the timing of this, look at how many members of Fear are able to collapse in.
So again, APA is all the damage. He's very fed, and Kim Down, like, he finds Minui. That's the right target. We have double TPs coming in, but APA can never get in this fight, so just too far ahead. Fear had the 5 stack, and they find 2.
Tearing it apart just like that. Fear will find a little bit of weakness coming out from Team Liquid. Again, still a new roster. Only Bradley is the returning one. Both of these rosters, rather, onto the new side of having as much scrim time as they can, getting ready for this and being in a team house together. You know, you're starting to see that synergy, and maybe I'm starting to believe a few of those videos that I saw from the Fear Twitter account saying that they are underrated. They have been underrated.
All of our provisional teams definitely have something to prove this split, and I mean, they have the opportunity. Majority of their games is going to be faced up against challengers teams. I will say the ones where you do face a provisional roster will have more stakes for them, given that the bottom 4 provisional teams will have to play in the relegation tournament to earn their spot for summer. But Fear, I mean, this was an early game comp for them, and the early game did not go their way, but it is nice to see them in this mid game, you know, catching TL at least a couple points, taking that dragon, and now actually having a winning fight mid. We'll see if they can continue to do more. I still favor TLC and their scaling that they have on their side, but at least Fear are making some plays.
And now setting up on the top side, APA will have to deal with Perry and Shochi. Trevor running around the corner, but showing a little bit early will be Perry. APA should have a heads up onto this. All the meanwhile, look at all this pressure on the bottom side still exerted by Bradley will allow Team Liquid an easy slot towards Drake.
So this is one of the hard points about Cassio, is that there are ways to abuse her. You can really abuse her range, but it's really tough to dive her. Fear was trying to set up for a top lane play because they knew they didn't have control over the dragon, as Mir was here and able to properly set up as the Maokai. So Fear don't get anything, and instead it is just a free soul point for TL.
One more dragon away. We'll have that dragon soul. Fear will respond. Okay. They do get some income right back. All right, good move. Went straight for the mid lane. Conceded the Drake. Had priority over there, and they will cash in the mid.
No, nice play from Fear on the back half. They are able to get a bounty, and TL will now reset the map. So Fear's going to take some control over this Baron. I don't think they can start it, but realizing that TL was in base, they actually are going to start hitting it. This could be dangerous.
This is very dangerous. My word. Yeah. They're realizing it right now, able to scry it out. Okay, see it going forward. Him down will lead ultimate. The curtains are open. Going after the back end of Fear. Only one bullet going to land, but Fear backing off the Baron, not staying there for too long. Trevor isolated, however, and Bradley is able to catch out Trevor. One more auto. Seal the deal now, going after Shochi. Hook doesn't land, but the auto able to root down Shochi and send him over to the rest of Team Liquid.
The options there for Fear, so it was to match the reset at TL and try and match them on the map, but knowing that they can't really keep down the control of the Maokai, they try to hit the Baron, not even close to enough damage, and the early TP from Bradley shuts down any opportunities that Fear had to actually make a play there, as Fear end up looking a bit silly on the map, and TL, that's a free Baron for them. Oh no,
Minui.
Oh boy.
Thought he was safe. Nope. Bradley was in that bush, pops out, will get the kill, and that is a big stagger on that death timer. Team Liquid going on the offensive.
The 4 vitals were found there as Minui falls over, and Kim Down, Arrow, full control, playing off these dredge lines. Map again to TLC, who I think had a really good early game plan in this game. This counterpick to the Rise, the Cassio that APA and TL had prepped. Not only was APA able to get ahead solo, but when Mir came, it was at the right time. And when you shut down Rise like that, your game plan with Rise is to play through Rise, go to other lanes through Rise. It never really opened up any opportunities for Fear to do that.
And 25 minutes in, we have an inhibitor down. Fear will be suffering over on this top side after that Baron-empowered push coming out from Team Liquid. Starting to all fall apart now, where Fear were able to keep it just about 2K separating these two squads. In the blink of an eye, we now have a 5K lead for Team Liquid.
Gonna get a replay. So again, once this is spotted, I love this TP from Bradley because Faisal is split. Faisal's not able to link up with his team. He has to go the long way.
Bradley.
And Trevor also not exiting with his team either. He just gets picked off. That's a freebie. And from here, I mean, it's just free pickings here for TL. And oh, hold on, Mir.
Oh, Fear going out with the trap bush, but instantly trying to bail out. APA will take down Trevor, sinking the fangs in, going after Perry. Curtains are open. Perry able to dodge the final shot, but there's a Bradley in that bush once again. Shochi over the wall, caught by the rest of Team Liquid. Hello to the NACL Team Liquid, the champions from last year in the Proving Grounds. They're running down Fear.
And that's what happens when you start getting APA involved in these fights on the Cassios. He now has the rod stack, the tier finish, and a death cap to his name as well, as Cassio just shredded the side of Fear. Again, Fear, they have to go for plays, have to try something, but really tough against Malachi. Can scout any brush he wants for free. TLC spots it out. Fear falls down.
Baron empowered push coming in, looking for those closing moments. Running in will be Faisal, going golden, Kim down. Triple inhib and the game push now for Team Liquid. Fear had moments where they're able to show those hands, but Team Liquid are showing the whole entire package at the start of this season. Another Nexus tower going down, trying to pat the KDA. They'll just take the Nexus instead and start us off with fire, Cubby. Team Liquid taking the dub.
That's what you expect from our challengers teams, our fixed teams that we have in the league. And for TL, you know, I know from talking with them, like they just kind of got everyone in, you know, the last week. They started scrimming together. Things are going pretty well so far. And I got to say, I think this is a team that can compete for the championship. It's a new look, but they have a lot of strong pieces. And I think we saw a good chunk of that this game, especially out of Mir and APA, who I think had a real standout performance.
All right, while we break things down a little bit more, I want to have a full desk. Let's get our host back in here. Let's get Sierra Dawn back on the desk. How you doing, Sierra?
Doing good. I mean,
Did you enjoy that game?
Yeah, no, I feel like it was the result that we all expected, like, let's be honest, but I still feel like it was a really fun game, and honestly, it was fun watching Fear, that little 1v1, where Faisal was able to take on Bradley, stuff like that. That was a lot of fun to watch right out of the game, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I enjoyed Faisal's play so much, especially making a statement like that in just solo mechanical play and getting a 1v1 against Bradley. That's very impressive.
Right? Some good stuff, and that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for these good little plays to start things off on our very first day. But instead of just going straight into a game breakdown, I want to do something a little bit different for this. It's the beginning of the year. It's the beginning of the split. So I thought it might be fun if we filled out New Year's resolutions for all of our players on these two teams, because I don't really know who does New Year's resolutions. Let's be real. So I doubt they filled out their own. So we're just going to go through the players, go through the teams, and we're going to talk about, from the perspective of that player, what we'd like to be seen from them going on forward into this split. You can make it goofy, you can make it serious, whatever little spin you two. Is that okay?
All right. I'm game.
Let's tackle it.
All right. We'll do a little discussion too, so you know it isn't just one person running away making resolutions for everyone. I don't know how good you two are at your resolutions, but we'll start it off easy. You know, we were just talking about the top lane. We were just talking about Bradley and Faisal. Let's start off with Faisal, because I kind of feel like a resolution, like more of those 1v1s and just kind of smash these challengers teams. I think that was cheeky.
Okay, all right. Who's going to say the first one, Cubby, me or you?
Ooh, I'm gonna give you Faisal. I've been hyping him up. I'm curious what's his resolution.
Okay, Faisal's resolution is to 1v1 every single fixed team's top laner in the league.
I like that. That's good. That's good.
That. Good one. I'd be pumped to see that. All right, what about Bradley, the one who got taken down by this 1v1, the first victim, you might say?
Bradley, his New Year's resolution is LCS 2024. Easy.
Sweet.
Easy.
Simple. I like that. All right. One of the prospects that we're super pumped for looking into this split, Mir.
Ooh, that's you, Cubby. That's you.
Oh, what do I want from Mir? Oh, this is tough.
Offhand, it seemed like Mir was taking a lot of APA skills. So,
I like that, man. I want my jungler to be bloodthirsty.
Yeah, let APA get some kills.
You know, I gotta say, for Mir, it's good that, you know, he's playing Malachi well. Of course, he is a very mechanically talented jungler. I think everyone I expect to be able to play Maokai well. But I think for Mir, a bit of it's going to be just rounding out his play in general here in NACL. Someone that has always been freakishly mechanically talented. So I'm going to say maybe learn some fun English words. He has been speaking English for a little bit, but, you got to keep up with the Zoomer lingo. And then also play 15 champs this year. 15 unique champs.
Ooh, okay.
That's what I've got for Mir. Free him up.
Challenge. Well, we'll go over to Zoomers next
Often jungle.
then, and seeing the pattern that's been emergent here. Deserex, what about for Perry?
For Perry. So Perry had such a good substitution in for Dignitas when he was able to get into Proving Grounds, and he got that team all the way to the finals. In the finals, you get to play on that stage. We don't know what the situation is going to be for NACL, but for Perry, get back to the stage, man. That would be great to see. He looked at home on stage, took Team Liquid pretty well. So yeah, get back on that stage for Perry.
All right. And then we'll switch it up for Sochi, Cubby, and I want you to talk a bit about the Fear player. So I'm going to give you a New Year's resolution.
You know what? I'm gonna use my one pass that I just made up. I'm gonna give this to Deserux because I want APA. I got a good one for him. What do you got for Sochi?
Oh, Sochi, I got this easy. Take down another 100 Thieves roster. Plain and simple.
There's only one this time. I like that.
All right. And so, Cubby, you used your pass. That's not a rule. I'm going to remember this for the future, but sure.
Thank you.
APA, New Year's resolution. I'll let you give this one a go.
Win on 3 Melee champions. That's it.
Sweet, simple. I like it.
Want to see that Akali, man? Come on. I know you can play it.
Okay, and we're going to swap it up. No more passes. Arrow. All right, Deserex, this one's for you.
Get players a second season would be one. But
okay.
I wouldn't be as focused on Arrow as much as Arrow's presence help bring up a lot of this new talent in both APA and Kim Down.
Okay, kind of mentoring, bring them up.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Cubby, for Minui.
For Minui, I want to see Minui improve their laning phase. I think this is something from watching a lot of tape that is weaker for Minui and Fear, something I'm worried about for them as a provisional team. So I'm going to say gold diff at 10, try to be middle of the pack.
Okay, and we'll go back to regular for the last one. Deserex, I'll let you have the last word here forever for Fear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that one more time. I kind of didn't catch you there.
I'll let you get the last one. Support for Fear for Trevor. Get this New Year's resolution.
Support for Fear. This is a tough one. He's always played on a chip on his shoulder. Just show up, make it look great. Play as best as you can and show that all these teams that have overlooked you have made a mistake, Trevor. There's so many times where academy teams have passed him up, and this is his time to shine.
All right, and support for Team Liquid now. Kim Down, Cubby.
I want to see Kim Down try and continue to make map impacts. It's kind of like tough for support, like metrics to judge off of, but Kim Down, least amount of experience on this roster, has a lot of room to grow. Showed some promise for me in the tryout. I'm excited to see Kim Down do that.
And then for a general, team one here, I want to say for Team Liquid, I want to see this domination we got to see in the past. Sure, this is a new roster. Riley's the only returning one. But I think a nice, safe resolution for this is to just, go for a third year, right?
You got to try and stick with it. That's the difficulty of the New Year's resolutions,
Yeah.
Right? And then Cincinnati Fear. Deserex.
Don't get relegated.
Yeah, don't get relegated.
Okay.
You've sent a whole roster to California. Don't get relegated. Don't get relegated.
Damn. Okay. I need to... All right. Need to chill out after that one for a second.
You got to stick with it, That's the key.
A little harsh. We're going to take a quick break as we all, drove that one a little bit. And after that, we'll start getting set up for the second game of the day.